When I was 22, I believed hard work could overcome almost anything. I had just finished college, polished my resume, and dreamed of building a career far away from the small town where everyone knew everyone else's business. But every interview ended the same way. Employers smiled warmly at first, promised to call, then suddenly disappeared. At first, I blamed bad luck. Then I blamed my lack of experience. Eventually, I stopped blaming myself and started asking questions. One afternoon, a manager from a local construction company called me after rejecting my application. "I'm probably breaking company policy," he whispered, "but you deserve to know. Someone claiming to be your father called us. He warned us you'd stolen thousands from your previous employer." My heart nearly stopped. "I've never stolen anything." "I figured as much," he replied. But he sounded convincing. That phone call changed everything. Over the next several weeks, I discovered a horrifying pattern. Nearly every company I applied to had received similar calls. Sometimes it was my father, other times it was my mother. They told employers I was dishonest, unstable, and dangerous to hire. I couldn't understand why. Growing up, my parents always favored my younger brother, Ethan. He barely finished high school, quit every job after a few weeks, and somehow remained their golden child. They constantly compared me to him, saying I should help him because family sticks together. When I refused to give Ethan money after he wrecked another car, "Everything changed. You think you're better than us." My father shouted no. I answered calmly, "I just won't finance his mistakes anymore." From that day forward, I became the family's enemy. Without stable work, I accepted temporary labor jobs in neighboring counties where nobody recognized my name. The pay barely covered rent and groceries, but I refused to quit months later. My grandmother called. "I need to see you." Grandma Eleanor had always been different. She listened instead of judging. When I arrived, she studied my tired face. "They've been telling people terrible things about you." "You knew," she nodded sadly. I confronted them. "What did they say?" "Your father claimed he was protecting the family." I laughed bitterly. "Protecting who?" She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Don't lose your integrity." Lies eventually collapsed before leaving. She handed me an old-fashioned envelope. "If anything happens to me, don't open this until after the reading of my will." I looked at the sealed envelope. "What's inside?" She smiled mysteriously. 6 months later, Grandma passed away peacefully at 87. The funeral was heartbreaking, but something else caught my attention. My parents acted unusually confident. Ethan walked around discussing which parts of Grandma's property he'd renovate after inheriting it. I remembered the envelope resting safely inside my apartment drawer. At the attorney's office, the family gathered around a polished oak table. The lawyer cleared his throat. "Mrs. Eleanor Brooks left specific instructions." He began reading. "Small gifts went to cousins and friends." Then came the main estate, her beautiful farmhouse savings, investments, and nearly 200 acres of valuable hilltop land outside town. "Everyone lean forward. I leave my entire estate," the lawyer announced to my grandson Daniel. Silence, then chaos. What Ethan screamed, "There has to be a mistake." My father slammed his fist onto the table. "He manipulated her." The attorney calmly adjusted his glasses. "There is no mistake." He then looked directly at me. "Mr. Brooks, your grandmother instructed me to ask whether you brought the sealed envelope." Every eye turned toward me. With shaking hands, I placed it on the table. The attorney broke the wax seal. Inside was a handwritten letter. "My dear Daniel, if you're reading this, I am gone, and unfortunately, your parents have probably continued their campaign against you. For years, I quietly documented everything. Every lie, every threatening phone call, every witness statement, every recorded voicemail. I knew one day you would need proof." The second folder contains certified copies of recordings and written statements from employers they contacted. The third folder explains why. Your father borrowed heavily against his business years ago. When it failed, he believed only Ethan deserved another chance. He feared you would inherit enough money to leave forever, so they decided to destroy your reputation, ensuring you would remain financially dependent and eventually support Ethan. I could never allow that. The hill belongs to you because you've earned it through honesty, perseverance, and kindness. Don't seek revenge, seek freedom. Love always, Grandma. The room fell silent. The attorney opened another folder. Inside were transcripts, phone recordings, witness affidavits, dates. Times, everything. There was no denying the truth. Even the attorney looked stunned by the level of documentation. My mother's face turned pale. My father stared at the floor. Ethan quietly slipped out of the room without saying a word. Over the following months, the evidence spread quickly through legal channels. Several companies that had rejected me contacted me personally to apologize. One manufacturing firm offered me a management position. After reviewing the documentation, a regional developer approached me about purchasing part of the hilltop property for a renewable energy project. The offer was worth millions. Instead of selling everything, I worked with planners to preserve most of the land while leasing only a portion. The steady income meant I never had to worry about money again. I restored Grandma's farmhouse exactly as she remembered it. Her rocking chair still sits on the front porch, overlooking the same hill she loved. As for my parents, they tried contacting me repeatedly, letters, phone calls, even unexpected visits. Every message sounded the same. We're family, but family isn't defined by shared blood. It's defined by trust, and trust, once deliberately destroyed, cannot be rebuilt with empty words. One autumn afternoon, I walked to the highest point on the hill. The wind rolled across the fields exactly as Grandma used to describe. For the first time in years, I felt completely free, not because I owned valuable land, not because I finally had financial security, but because the truth had finally become louder than the lies. Grandma's sealed envelope didn't simply expose betrayal. It restored my name. It gave honest employers the courage to correct their mistakes. It proved that patience can outlast manipulation. Most importantly, it reminded me that character is the only inheritance nobody can steal. As the sun disappeared behind the hills, I whispered a quiet thank you to the woman who believed in me when nobody else would. She hadn't just left me in a state. She had given me back my future.